JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today and the Treasury Titans. Nothing in this video is financial advice. Sit back, relax, and let's dive on in. Because Michael Saylor starts things off with a clear reminder of Bitcoin's purpose. Stay focused, stay patient, and let the long game just unfold. Strategy adds their own steady update, reflecting the same consistent approach they've carried on for years. Keep building, keep accumulating, keep moving forward. And Adam shares a grounded market context, pointing out how Bitcoin continues to strengthen quietly in the background without needing big headlines to do so, while Zinc's post charts to show long-term hodlers remaining steady in price zones that look familiar and reassuring. Chris adds a helpful macro note about why more people are naturally drifting towards Bitcoin as the world becomes more uncertain. HRV brings clean data showing visuals of Bitcoin's internal health improving step by step. And Aiden rounds out things with thoughtful reminders about patience, conviction, and allowing the market to move at its own pace, something that feels especially relevant right now. Strategy keeps accumulating, Saylor keeps sharing simple truths, and Bitcoin keeps quietly doing what it does best. So let's dive on in to the first post of the day, which is Michael Saylor, who wants us to turn and burn. Listen, if you want to believe Michael Saylor, who's mentioned it a couple times now, he feels like we have bottomed out, we have gone down, we have pulled back, we have retraced. It's time to turn from our little dip there. Time to turn out of our dive and burn upwards, burn towards the sun. Strategy says if Bitcoin drops to our $74,000 average cost basis, we still have 5.9x assets to convertible debt, which we refer to as the Bitcoin rating of our debt. At 25,000 Bitcoin, it would still be 2x. Strategy just wants to just laugh in the face of people that think they'll get liquidated at 74,000 because they're clueless. It wants to laugh in the face of people that think the strategy is going to get liquidated at 25,000. They're clueless. Strategy will not get liquidated at 10,000 or 5,000 or 2,000. They'll have to make some hard decisions at those numbers. But I think the only decision that you and I will be making is how do we sell more kidneys to buy more Bitcoin? Mark says MSTR raised $7 billion in press this year alone. This is the real reason JP Morgan is afraid of the strategy. I mean, look at this, 21 billion years to in 2025, and they show exactly how they did that. 7 billion of that coming from just the preferreds. Insanity. Adam says states buying Bitcoin. New Fed chairman will likely be a former Coinbase advisor, and you're bearish. Lee wants us to know that Texas bought the dip. Texas becomes the first state to purchase Bitcoin with a $10 million investment on a approximately $87,000 basis. Good timing, Texas. Exciting times for you and for everybody in Bitcoin, obviously. Zink says, whoever can bring stretch to the masses is an easy and accessible way is going to be filthy rich. I'm talking about making it as easy as using a bank account today, so even your grandmother can use it and benefit from it. Looking forward to the products that will be built to do this. And Michael Saylor posted yesterday, imagine a bank powered by Bitcoin. Stretch your income for folks who like money. I love that. 10.5% dividends. I think we're going to see that go up shortly. 0 to 3%. No, thank you. Let's go 10.5%. Soon to be higher if I had to guess. Chris says there is a rotation of shareholders occurring within MSTR from those who have a high time preference and don't understand the company and the long-term thesis and aren't comfortable with dividend payments being funded via the common stock, to those that have a low time preference and do understand the company and the long-term thesis and are comfortable with the dividend payments being funded via the common stock. That sums up me in a nutshell, and I hope it does you as well. Mark Harvey says, eventually people will realize MSTR's $7 billion in prefs never need to be paid back or rolled over because they are not debt. The stock will probably be over $500 at that point when people finally figure that out. And that's probably after a 10-for-1 split. Adrian says, MSCI delisting fear-mongering, the $2.8 billion lie. First, strategy is at zero risk of being delisted from other indices. Second, JP Morgan says an MSCI delisting would trigger a $2.8 billion forced sell-off. They are banking on you not knowing the math. And then Adrian just goes on to say how much of a lie and a farce this is. You can definitely read this whole post. I highly recommend it. But essentially, here's the chart that shows the actual real numbers, the MSTR volume based on typical price. This is average, high, low, and close. And the reality is this: they are screaming about an existential event that is actually a standard Tuesday afternoon. This isn't a liquidity crisis, it's a scare tactic. Don't let them scare you with numbers that sound big to you but are invisible to the markets. And then Adrian just kind of goes on to say, JP Morgan is afraid of your success. They aren't protecting you, they are protecting their deposits. And this is the key thing I want people to really understand. They are terrified of people taking their cash equivalents out of JP Morgan, the cash equivalents, that are earning 1% to 3% or less, and just, of course, transferring it over to 10.5% STRC. So everybody's asking, like, why is JP Morgan targeting MSTR? The answer is in this chart. The strategy economy is exploding. Adrian's been tracking the volume on strategy preferred equities. The velocity, 8.4 billion, has flowed into these instruments in just 12 weeks. The scale, that's 21 billion of capital, has flowed into the ecosystem since inception. What's the fear? TradFi banks live on deposits. They pay you 0% to hold your cash while charging overdraft and transfer fees. Strategy created yield-bearing instruments backed by Bitcoin. They aren't just equities anymore. They are bank competitors. Every dollar flowing into these preferreds is a dollar leaving the legacy fiat system. They didn't jack up the margin requirements on MSTR and write their MSCI delisting note to save you from risk. They are trying to stop the capital flight from the fiat economy into the Bitcoin economy. I hope you understand that Michael Saylor is a financial engineering genius, the of our lifetime, by the way. I mean, it's incredible. He has front run this whole thing, and he's done it in the open. He's been talking about it the entire time, but now he has a moat that cannot be caught, almost 650,000 Bitcoin. Michael Saylor has won. Strategy has won. The shareholders, if we just can hold on tight for the next 5+ years, we have won. It's just a matter of time. That's it. The game is over, and this is a last dying gasp from these, corporations that are terrified of happening, of something happening, like Adrian's explaining in this post right here. And then here we go. This is Strategy's preferred offerings volume. Look at what's been happening over the past few weeks. Absolutely insane. I just wanted to play this. This is just a fun little clip. MSTR reference on Jeopardy today. Let's give it a listen.
And for the $1,000 clue, this will be the richest man in the world. If you don't buy his stock, you're an idiot.
Isaiah. Who is Michael Saylor?
That's correct.
All right. Hope you enjoyed that little fun. Of course, we have a great clip of Michael Saylor coming up on Schwab. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Fire Nation, when you want more for your business, more privacy, more guidance, more success, it all starts with Northwest Registered Agent. These legends have been helping entrepreneurs launch and grow their businesses for nearly 30 years. They're the largest registered agent and LLC service in the U.S. with over 1,500 corporate guides, real people who know your state's laws and actually care about helping you win. With Northwest, you can build your complete business identity, everything from what your customers see to what they don't, operating agreements, meeting minutes, compliance paperwork, and more. You'll get thousands of free resources, lawyer drafted forms, and step-by-step guides all in one place, and you don't even need to create an account to access them. Best part, privacy is automatic. Northwest never sells your data and handles everything in-house. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free. Senator Cynthia Lummis recently announced that funding for a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve can start anytime. This is a massive step forward for a strategic crypto stockpile, and no surprise, was soon followed by a new all-time high for Bitcoin. If you're looking to buy more Bitcoin, BitIRA can help. In fact, BitIRA will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into Bitcoin. This also allows you to buy Bitcoin using pre-tax funds, then continue to invest in it over time as you do any other retirement account. And if you want, you can even add XRP, Ethereum, or other cryptos. BitIRA protects your assets with end-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and is registered with the U.S. government. Your IRA is fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without incurring taxes on any buys or sells, just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Think about this. In March, President Trump signed an executive order for the Treasury to manage 200,000 Bitcoin as the foundation for a reserve. That's just the foundation. Go to bitira.com/JLD to open a tax-sheltered IRA in Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is digital energy, right? Either you own it and control it or somebody else does. And so I would just make one more point. If the U.S. doesn't, they should encourage U.S. banks, U.S. investors, U.S. corporations, and taxpayers to own it, right? It's not necessary for the U.S. to own it outright, but it's very, very critical that U.S. banks, U.S. investors, U.S. corporations own it and control it, in the same way that it wasn't necessary for the U.S. to own all the oil, but it's pretty necessary for a U.S. corporation to own the oil.
What about the energy side of it? I mean, so many Bitcoin mining companies now pivoting to focus on AI data centers. I've been talking to a number of them. I mean, you've got Iran, you've got CleanSpark, you've got Hive. What are your thoughts on this?
I think that it's been an extraordinary 180-degree turn for the better by the nation. I think maybe the most profound development of technology in the 20th century was nuclear power, nuclear energy, unlimited, clean, scalable energy. And we shut down the programs for 50 years. And in 2020, if you talk to energy companies, they were going to decommission all those nuclear reactors. And we were asking the question, how do we get this nation to embrace the importance of electricity? And if you want to generate infinite clean electricity, you know, the most efficient way to do it is with nuclear technology. So I think there are two things you want to do with energy. One thing is you want to create digital intelligence, right? And that's what AI is. And we discovered the way you create digital intelligence is you feed it extreme amount of energy. You feed gigawatts of energy through very customized silicon chips, NVIDIA chips, you know, GPUs, and then out comes digital intelligence. Well, you know what the Bitcoin industry discovered is the way you create digital money, digital capital, is you take gigawatts of electricity and you feed it through custom silicon, ASICs, and you generate a wall of encrypted energy to defend the network. And that's what Bitcoin is. So what happened in the last 4 years was the Bitcoin miners were under pressure for using too much electricity by the environmentalists. And we were defending that. We were saying, but you know, we're actually going to create a new banking world order, and it's going to be worth hundreds of trillions of dollars. And so it's a good use of electricity. But we had a hard time winning that battle. Then all of a sudden we have the Chat GPT moment, and people discover that they also need power in order to create digital intelligence. And that turned Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, right, Microsoft, and hundreds of millions of Americans into true believers. And that entire debate about whether electricity good or electricity bad just went away. And the entire debate over nuclear power went away. And all of those AI data centers, they desperately needed high power data centers. And you know who owned them? The Bitcoin miners. And so as the Bitcoin miners were struggling with the economics of the industry, because the way the Bitcoin works is it gets exponentially more efficient to mine Bitcoin. And so the margins of Bitcoin mining are decreasing. At the point they were struggling, along came a new buyer for those power rights, and they were able to pivot and monetize those power rights. So AI and digital intelligence saved, you know, the Bitcoin miners.
What's the second best? There is no second best.